Hello, folks. Welcome again to another episode. This is Robert Gauza, economist and your mentor of Forex from Gatos FX. Before we go on, make sure you follow me on all my social media, which includes Instagram page, or insert me through Gatos FX, as well as my YouTube channel, Gatos FX. Subscribe, learn, put a comment, put a like, and ask anything you want. Welcome again. Today at Gatos FX, we are going to focus on fundamental analysis. What I mean when I'm talking about fundamental analysis, most of the Forex traders call it news. I know some people, when it comes for the time for news, others are closing the position and run away. Others are opening the position and get in the market. Others get confused. They don't understand the movements which are happening during the news. Price goes up, price goes down. It's confusing them. But others understand. You need to get a basic foundation of understanding news. Basically, what are the news? That's the number one component point you need to ask yourself. What are the news? Who released them? How do they relate with Forex trade? What happens when news released? Some of the pair, the movement becomes very sharply. Some of the news, you find out there is just a normal movement. What's the secret behind? What's the essence? What is hidden? What's the secret about this news? Today, in this episode, I am going to open you and understand exactly what does this news mean, how to trade them, how to understand them, how to avoid them if just you want to do that. But basically, news is one of the very important aspects in forex trade. All right? So make sure you stick to the end of this episode. Before all, you need to understand the participant of Forex. You know, Forex has got so many participants in this trade, which includes us retail traders. Most of these individuals are called retail traders, but they're just individuals. But since we are trading money, currencies, currencies of two different nations give you a combination which is called the pair. Basically, you are trading the currency of one nation against the currency of one nation. Then how comes in the forex chart you might find out that in a certain period of time the pair is bullish, in a certain period of time the pair is bearish. What's the logic behind? It is beyond the only demand and supply for us who are just trading it in the foreign market exchange. The basic, the major essence of the currency of pair or money, from the definition of money, money is just a medium of exchange of goods and services. If we don't have a good and services, there's no need to have money. If there's no good produced and ready for sale, there's no service offered and ready for the market sales, there's no need for money. Even in the ancient ages, people used to trade barter trade. You must bring a commodity in the market, and your fellow bring another commodity in the market. You agree to the term of exchange, then the trade happens. That is the essence of the trade. So, due to evolution over time, you know, money has undergone a lot of evaluation from barter trade, where we traded commodity to commodity. It had its challenges, whereby to get the equal medium state for exchange rate value was a very difficult problem. And maybe I want a maize and my fellow has a cow. How can I get a 1 kilo of meat? Will I kill the whole cow? It's impossible. That's why people moved to metal money. And metal money, people said to use gold, bronze, silver, diamond. But you know, these precious metals are very scarce and rare. It is not that they're not abundant in every country. Every state has been blessed to have those metals, so they are very scarce, and they were not. They were their supply did not satisfy the demand of the market economy. That's why people shifted to fiat money. When I'm talking about this fiat money, I am basically basing on the paper note and coin. A fiat money is a type of currency that is declared legal tender by a government, that it has no instinct or fixed value, and it is not backed by any tangible assets, such as gold and silver. Fiat money includes paper notes and coin. The face value of the fiat money has no intrinsic value as compared to gold, silver, and even barter trade. If you trade a cow, maybe of what? A cow over maize or cassava, both two commodities have instinct value. You can eat cassava, you can milk a cow, or you can eat the meat out of the cow. But what about $100 note? Can you eat $100 note? No. Its face value has no value, in fact. But by illegal, when we have undergone civilization of the world, we moved from those periods of barter trade, and now we are in the better economic civilized condition, and we are moving out of one of these where we are going to digital currency. It's another subject we'll talk with another days. So a fiat money, it is what it is. So since we are trading fiat money, these paper notes and coin, we must ask ourselves, who make them? How does that organ which print paper note and mint coin controls its supply and the demand in the market? What instruments are they using? How would that affect the economy? How would that affect financial markets, which including Forex? These questions are fundamentally going to take us into why we must understand economic in Forex. We must understand these news reports in Forex and in other aspects in general. Make sure you stick with this episode to the end. This is economist Robert Geuza. Welcome again to TheTossFX. Make sure you click the link below, subscribe in that YouTube channel, TheTossFX, and also follow me in my Instagram page, TheTossFX. All right. So since we were looking at the evolution of money from barter trade to precious metal, from barter trade to precious metal as a medium of exchange is money, and now we are having the fiat money, paper note and coin, which are being printed by the central bank. And the central bank is the organ, is a public organ that's managed by the government. So directly, there is a role of government. There's a role of government which will have impact to the Forex. And also, there is the role of central bank, which has an impact with Forex. As I have said previously, there are several participants in these financial markets, especially Forex, which include central banks themselves. All central banks, you know, they have a treasury departments. They do trade. Commercial banks, all the commercial banks, they are doing Forex. Various institutions with big capital, highest levels of liquidity, they are participating in Forex. Brokers, they have highest financial base. They are also engaging in Forex. There are companies, several companies, big companies, small size, medium companies. They are also engaging in Forex. And lastly, but not least, is you and me. Individuals. There are millions of individuals who are also engaging in Forex. So you need to understand who is the big shark in the sea. Do you want to move alongside with the big shark in the sea? Or do you want to go against them? Because these big institutions, which include central bank, commercial banks, big companies, they understand both technical analysis, they understand also fundamental analysis. And some of them, they're making decisions in the market based on this fundamental analysis. Economic reports, they understand, which includes central banks. They have highest level of liquidity. In Forex, in order to make a profit, you have to go with the order flow of the higher institution. When they buy, you buy. When they sell, you sell. But unlucky, the Forex chart does not tell you where is the bank. Where the Bank of Japan has put the buy order. Where the Federal Reserve of America put the sell order. They don't display that. But through learning and understanding the charts, you align them with the fundamental analysis. You know to read the number. You know how to analyze and interpret economic performance of different nations based on this released data, because these data are released by the legal institution. You'll be able to have a confidence in the financial markets. And then you see the bears bullish in the long run, you can hold it for a long period of time, or in the short run, and whatsoever the analysis you make. But news will not be stopping you out. News will be used to take your order or to bring you to your take profit point. Since I have said today in this podcast, basically we are going to see and understand. I'm going to teach you the relationship or the role of the government and the central bank in Forex. I have made a foundation. A foundation is that what we are trading is a fiat money. Cash, paper note, and coin. They are being printed and meant by the central bank. And the central bank is a public organ governed by the government. There are rules, policies, and regulations which guide them to control the money and supply. And those rules, regulations, and guidelines and decisions made by either the government or the central bank will have a direct impact on financial markets, both financial markets, not only including Forex, but all other financial markets. All of them are affected by these news. So, these news, in one word or another, in a very respectful word, these are purely economic reports of a state in a specific period of time, released by the legal organ, which is the central bank and the government. And these reports are released in order for the public to make decisions. The users of these news are in several groups. Several groups are the users of this news. Just to list the few, the number one user or beneficiaries of these fundamental economic reports is you, citizens. If you are coming from a democratic country, we go to election. We listen to the policies of competing parties. The other part saying if you choose, you elect us on the area of taxes, we will lower taxes, we will decrease government spending, we will make sure you create job, improving infrastructure, making good environment for education sector, we will improve health sector. A lot of promises are being made by the politicians. Then the question to ask, how are they going to deliver all which they have been promising us during the political campaign? They are going to use policies. Because no politician will take the money out from his or her pocket and put it into the government to function. No. They will use public funds collected through taxes and other means of collecting income by the state in order to deliver economic performance of a state and improve welfare of a nation. So you as a citizen, whether you are trading Forex or you are not trading Forex, you have got to understand the state of the economy of your country. There must be some tools which you can say, in the past 3 years before election, maybe the level of employment was X number per annum or per annual per year. Then since after election, 1 year later, the political party in power has managed to create a certain X amount of new jobs as they promised or as not they had promised before. So you can make judgment whether the luring institution is doing good, is doing bad. It is based on this data. As a citizen, normal citizen. But as traders and other financial speculators, we need to understand this economic report in order to make financial decisions in the market. For example, I'll just cite a simple example which I'll explain it later on. I want to trade GBP USD, all right? And in the previous month, Federal Reserve of United States reported the inflation rate may be raised from 2.5% to 3.2%, which is the highest level of inflation. It's a creeping rate. So once I understand this rate, I would first of all predict maybe the Fed will lower. Of course, inflation is an enemy of the economy. The first reaction to expect is that the government and the Fed will come up with a solution against inflation. But how are they going to lower it? And probably if that inflation has been caused by the excess of money supply in the economy, they will use interest rates, obviously, to lower the inflation rate. And in that case, I will know if the government intends to lower interest rates. You're trading GBP USD, you know that USD by the time will become bearish. USD, you can buy it just based on fundamental before you go to technical. Then you can use fundamental and go to technical and see how it's happening in the chart. You can link them, and when we buy at discount price, and when we sell at the premium price. So it's an added conference. You cannot purely use fundamental to get into the market. Now, it doesn't work that way. But combination of both fundamental and technical will put you in a better place. All right, folks. So we were talking about the uses of these financial reports, which includes the citizens, speculators and traders like me, you, investors. You cannot go to invest, and when I'm talking about investors, I mean both. They can be domestic investors or foreign investors. You cannot go just to jump into a certain country and put your capital there without understanding the economic performance. You would request to see how the GDP is, how the prices are in that particular country, the number of employment, because you need labor. You need to know the accessibility of labor in that country in particular, and a lot of more of information you need. Then where do you get them? How valid are they? They must come out of the legal, authorized, mandated organ, which is the government and central bank for this case. All right? Other uses of these financial reports, it include the government itself and its agencies and organs. Even the government itself, they need data because, basically for democratic countries, the government has a very short period of time to be in power. Most of the countries is 4 to 5 years. So you must evaluate yourself from what you promised during a political election campaign to how you are performing. You promised to create jobs, to improve infrastructure, to improve health services, and so on, GDP to grow up. Do the number align with your promise? Because in the course of 5 years, the citizen will ask you, and your opponents will come with the data to challenge you in the political campaign battle. So the government itself needs that. But also the government itself needs this data in order to make policies, to make laws, to have an influence on its organs. All right? Private sector needs also financial reports in order to make various decisions in their investments, marketing, research, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So it is very, very important for each nation to read this data, because these data are public in nature. They are public data. We need to know, we need to understand. But for us traders, it has got a special and specific role. Because when news are released, not all news, some of the news, when they are released, we experience immediately impact on the financial market. The pair will either buy rapidly, sell rapidly, or doing both. Going up, going down, going up, going down is confusing people. You can buy immediately, you're being stopped out. You can sell, you're being stopped out. You are confused and totally confused. But you need to understand, what does this data mean? Once you understand, you align them with the technical analysis, things becomes easy. However, today, at Gatos FX, we are going to unlock the knowledge and impact it to you. Just make sure you follow, listen to our YouTube channel, Gatos FX. All right. So, folks, we can ask ourselves. So, why does Forex has been linked with this news? What happens when these news are being released? We see the sharp movements in the charts. Who released this news, on which basis, and why? As I made my foundation very open, we are trading fiat money. Fiat money is being printed and minted by the central bank. The central bank is a public organ which is working for the people under the guidance or under the law in relationship with the government in order to bring about economic stability of the nation and its people, to maintain price stability, as well as to maintain economic performance of a nation. So it is very unlucky. It's very unlucky. Different states and nations are struggling to attain economic growth, but it is unlucky that that is not a simple task. There is not a simple task. To bring about economic growth and stability, it is not an easy job. It requires a lot of multitask and policies and so on and so on. Right? So here today we are going to see what's happening in the economy. How does the economy affect Forex? How can we make decisions based on this news which are being released by the central bank and the government, its counterpart? How do they help us to make decisions? But also, how do they narrate the performance of the economy in a state? When you are trading currency, basically, you are dealing with money. But what is money? Money is just a simple representation of value of a good or service in the market. If I have this laptop, it can be represented by money. How much dollar does it cost? All right? So money is just a means of exchange. Behind the money lies a good or a commodity being traded. So when you get into Forex, you are trading a pair. A pair is a combination of two different currencies of two different nations. That means you are trading two economies of two different states. If it is GBP USD, you are trading the economy of Great Britain against the economy of United States of America. If it is NZD card, you are trading the economy of New Zealand against the economy of Canada. That's how. That is really what it is. It is not money as money. It's the economy. Because their economic performance will influence the power of their currency. All right. So, if we are trading the economy of one state against the economy of the other state, who is responsible with management of the economy of the state? Probably the government of the state. What organ is responsible with controlling and printing those money or currencies which we are trading? It is the central bank. So the government is responsible with the economic performance of a state. The central bank is responsible with controlling the money supply and influencing monetary policies of the state. So the combination of the two gives us what we call news. If the government is responsible, then we have to see how responsible it is. How the government decision will affect the economy and how it will affect Forex. If the central bank is responsible, we have to know how does the central bank implement its obligations, and those decisions which they are making, how do they affect the economy and Forex in general. This is what we are going to focus on this point. Is responsible with economic performance, and the central bank is responsible with money supply control and management, and we are trading money. Money is controlled by the central bank. The central bank supports the government to bring about economic performance and growth. Therefore, we cannot ignore the decision made by the government and the decision made by the central bank. Both of them have got something to do with Forex. Both of them have got something to do with financial markets. That's why in Forex, we are also being assisted by released with this news. We need to understand them, need to know them, focus, and use them into our added advantages in order to understand this financial markets, all right? So, since we understand that aspect, like the government has something to do with economic performance, and the central bank has something to do with money circulation and stabilization, and those decisions made by these two organs would have impact the financial markets. However, the aim of the government about releasing this news is not for only speculators. As I said previously, the users are so many. People can get this data and make decisions. But the role of the government towards engagements in economic aspects is welfare maximization of its citizens. But the central bank, the same. It assists the government to bring about that welfare maximization. And when you say welfare maximization, it has to be balanced. Both the citizens, private sector, private business are parts of the state. So the government has to balance the needs of the normal citizen, the business, the investors. Both of them, they are making the organs which the government has to work for. Therefore, it's a very important task, it's a very important role for the government and the central bank to be professional, to be very careful when they are making this decision, because they are going to affect people's life, whether direct or indirect. Then the next questions to ask ourselves it is how do the government implement their decision, and how do they affect the economy and the financial markets in general? So the government will not just come and take your money from your pocket if there is inflation, or the central bank, neither do they do that. But they have some policies which they are using to bring about business cycle stabilizations. And these policies, they tend to use these policies depending on the nature of economic condition in a particular period of time, and the intended objective that the government is intending to achieve in that period of time. Whether the government wants to collect money to implement government activities, maybe we have general election, we have national census and whatsoever, the government has to know how they can get money, because tax is not the only way source of government to collect in revenue. The government which relies only on tax will face several political complaints from its citizens. People don't like tax, although it is legal, we must pay tax. But if the government only relies on tax, you wake up, you see the tax raising, tax raising, tax raising. That is a poor sign for a good performing economy. There must be some other means of collecting and getting revenue. So, when the government faces a certain economic condition, they can either imply government policies, which we call them fiscal policies, or they can either solve that economic situation by implementing monetary policies, which are influenced by the central bank. The financial policies regulated by the central bank, we call them monetary policies. And these policies, they can either be expansionary or contractional. What do I mean by expansionary or contractional? And this is what makes the forex pair goes up and down. These policies is what makes the forex pairs goes up and down, because central bank make decisions despite technical analysis based on this fundamental economic performance, because they are the reflection of the economic growth, the economic performance of a particular state. So if the economy of one country is going down, if the other country is going up, the other country's currency will become bearish, the other country's pair will become bullish. So it depends on the market whether you are buying that pair or you are selling, which currency is the best currency or which currency is the core currency. That it is. Thus, it is now the role of these big two organs, the government itself and the institutions, professionally, to use their policies in order to stabilize economic situation. For example, when there is an excess supply of money and we want to curb inflation, we want to lower the prices, people have saw the money supply is in excess in the society, the government and the central bank cannot take the money out of your pocket or out of your bank account. There must be some policies which will, of course, take money out of you, but indirectly. And even when the economy has no money, no jobs, no money in the circulation, the government has to bring money to the economy. The government will not put money direct into your bank account or in your pocket. There must be some policies which, when implemented, they would create a chain of money supply into the economy, money multiplier. The effect of money multiplier will touch each and everyone who is engaging in economic production. All right. Therefore, that's why we have these policies which can be contractionary or expansionary. Expansionary policies are policies which are going to increase money supply in the economy, and the contractionary policies are policies which are going to reduce the money supply into the economy. That's why the economy is never static. We can imply contractionary policies to a certain period of time. If it prolongs, it creates problems, we have to imply expansionary policy. And if we imply expansionary policy, it must have a time period. If it exceeds and prolong, we'll have excess money supply, we'll have inflation, we'll again have to apply contractionary policy. That's why this is what completes a business cycle. The economy goes up and down, and even you can see in our forex charts, it just goes up and down, ups and down, ups and down. That's how it functions. So today in this episode, I will not, in this part one of this episode, I will not go deep into the policies until we go to the next episode, whereby we will now go deep to study the government fiscal policies. How does the government affect the economy? Which decisions are made by the government under which economic circumstances? What instruments are they using to bring about economic stabilization? When those instruments are used, how are they reported in the Forex news? And what are their reaction, which is going to happen to the economy when those decisions are being implemented in the government? And how will they affect the currency pair? And what decision you have to do? Nevertheless, we will also look at the central bank decisions. Under which circumstances do the economy allow the central bank to make economic decisions? When those decisions are implemented, which tools are being used by the central bank to implement those decisions? and how to read those numbers in the financial reports. How are they going to affect financial markets? And you as a trader, how can you take advantage of those released news to make decisions in your trading career, whether you buy, whether you sell, or whether you stay out of the market. This all will complete the part of fundamental analysis. So guys, the end of this part 1 is not the end of the story. Make sure you follow the next episode, whereby we will absolutely narrate and explain all of the instruments, all of the news, highest volatile news, how are they being released, and the impact, and how you can trade them, or how you can use them to make decisions when you're in the chart. My name is Robert Geuza. I'm an economist and a professional trader and mentor as well. Make sure you follow me on my social media pages, which includes YouTube, GatosFX, and Instagram, GatosFX. Welcome again at GatosFX, and meet me in the next episode. Thank you.